Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Book Brood, and welcome back to the 10th edition of my category Journey. So, we are getting into the season with our pumpkins, jack-o'-lanterns, leaves falling from trees, cold weather, trick-or-treating, all that wonderful stuff. And we're going to do it with our next feature author, which is Tanya Agler, and we're reading her latest release, and that is The Single Dad's Holiday Match. So, obviously, from this cover, we're going to get some big fall vibes, and we are so excited about it. It's, I'm actually really feeling the autumnal season this year, so I'm usually not a big seasons person, but, you know, being married to Lane for so long, it's kind of, it's kind of sunk in at this point. So, let's talk about chapter 1. So let me set this scene for you here. All right, so we have Brooke, who's our heroine. She is kind of newish to town. She's working at this community center that they've got some big changes coming, some renovations. Her job is essentially to modernize it and make sure that this town makes full use of this community center. So she's trying to give it a facelift and breathe some new life into it and everything. She also has a teenage son who I believe is a senior in high school. So this is a dynamic I don't see too much. So it's something I really appreciate. Love interests that have older children. Which is cool, So it's older people are allowed to fall in love too, and should absolutely. Moving on to our hero, we have Jonathan. He is a single dad. He has got two youngerish girls. I think they're both older than 10, but they're not young. So he has tragically lost their mother and his former wife, and he moved to this small town for a new start away from the tragedy. They meet in chapter 1. He's a police officer. He was just checking on. He's kind of doing a sort of investigation thing into some fake ID stuff, and some of it was happening around the community center. So he's just kind of poking around, trying to get a feel for what's going on there. And obviously, they find each other attractive, and so this is a great start. I am super happy to be back into Heartwarming. I love all the lines, definitely. I mean, you guys know me. But for some reason, Heartwarming, I keep coming back to it. It's so good and so fun to explore new authors. So I will check in after chapter 2 of The Single Dad's Holiday Match. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. I've finished chapter 2. So we met Jonathan's daughters. They're school age, old enough. I think around 10ish, give or take a couple years on either side there. So during the Thanksgiving holiday week, he's got to find somewhere to place his daughters to be supervised. He's got to work. We're going to have a little bit of forced proximity here, or forced proximity adjacent. Is that a thing? It might be. It's interesting because Jonathan here is the one that's all excited about having reasons to run into Brooke, which I think is super adorable and pretty cool. And then Brooke's the one that's doing the whole like, oh, I'm so busy right now. I don't have time for this. But, when he's around, I can't ignore him. He's looking for reasons to keep bumping into her. So this is super cute. I was a bit thrown for a loop here going back into Heartwarming because I read a Desire, then I've read a Presents, and then some of my book clubs are reading more steamier things too. And so jump into this one, and it's like, we're just being cute towards each other, which is great. I love this stuff. I've been on a lot of fighting their feelings type story. So going back to the heartwarming and the sweeter meet cute, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I might want to get to know you better. And they're like, oh, I might want to get to know you better. So it's cute. It's adorable. We love to be back at Heartwarming. We love all the books. So I will check in after chapter 3, everyone. I have finished chapter 3. So we follow Brooke, and she goes to visit her Aunt Mitzi, who is the close family relation that lives in Hollydale, which is partly the reason why Brooke relocated there. The other part being the 6-month chance to direct the community center and breathe some new life into it. Brooke's looking for something to do this evening, and she wants to go ask her aunt if she would like to have dinner, but her aunt's got a date with her beau. This chapter is mostly just setting up some characters, introducing Brooke to the town a bit more, and planting some ideas for some things to come. So good dose of foreshadowing in there. We also know that Brooke has Jonathan on the mind quite a bit, even when she doesn't want to. So things are progressing just as we want them to. So I will check in after chapter 4. Hello, everyone. I finished chapter 4, and we had a non-date happen here at the pumpkin patch, so that's just wonderful setting right there. Perfect for autumn and just that seasony thing. Like you can just you can just like see it and smell it, when you're at the pumpkin patch with the hay and the mud and the pumpkins and the like described in here, the diesel from the tractors giving the hay rides. Like it's so, oh, love it. Love it. We all love it. So, anyway, enough about autumn. The families have met each other now. As that goes, we've got a bit of a yours and mine situation. Maybe we'll have an ours situation. I don't know. Maybe that'll be a treat at the end of the book, but I digress. We're getting ahead of ourselves here. All right. So the families met each other. There's some tension there. It wasn't going to be a peaceful transition, but everyone's going to have to prove themselves. And Jonathan's got his work hat on a little more than I would advise him to. I, would think that he should probably take that off and just enjoy a good thing and not worry so much about that. Yeah. But he does have a job to do, so I'm not telling him to ignore his job. I'm just maybe heavily suggesting that he ignore his job for the sake of love. That's but we don't even know the situation. We only have circumstantial evidence at this point. I am eagerly moving on to chapter 5, and I will check in after that. Good morning, everyone. I've finished chapter 6. So chapter 5 and 6 are setting up or providing movement on this case that's going on in town, and Jonathan's just a patrol cop in this small town, but he can't let this investigation go because this is just in his nature as a detective. But it's also roping Brooke into it as well because it's kind of centering around what's happening in the community center. So this is coming together almost like a cozy mystery. Like they're gonna have to sleuth it together and things like that. So I'm excited because I have recently gotten into cozy mysteries because of a book club that I'm part of, the Who Picked This book club. We do live shows and stuff every other Wednesday. Going to be every Wednesday here soon. Anyway, that's a diversion. But the whole cozy mystery setup here is a great thing. It's going to be different though, because in a lot of cozy mysteries, the romance, if there is one, takes a long time. It takes books to make even a progress to like one kiss. And I know this is a heartwarming, but we know there's an HEA at the end of this one, so it's going to move a little faster. It might be a little more satisfying. There's no murder involved here, so that's stakes are lower, obviously. So, but hopefully it's going to be just as much fun. And I will see you at the next check-in. All right, I've now finished chapter 7, and we had some heavy talk between Jonathan and Brooke, getting each other's history, getting into the stuff that they don't like getting into, things they don't like sharing, but things they feel comfortable sharing with each other, which is super sweet. But it brings up a first world problem that I have here with some of these more deeper and emotional heartwarmings, and even the last presents too, is when they get into these really serious subjects, it's actually difficult for me to make funny commentary on them. So I have to think about these tweets a lot harder because I don't want to come off as insensitive to these people here that honestly are real people to me, and I'm not going to go out of my way to hurt their feelings on Twitter. That's where I'm at here. Going into chapter 8 is I'm worried if I'm going to run out of jokes is what it is. So things are progressing, getting to know each other better, and that's good that things are going slow because, well, one, it's a heartwarming and it's fine, it goes slow, but two, these two really need to take their time with each other because there's just a lot going on, as there would be with adults with almost adult children. This makes it feel like real people falling in love, which, like I said, they're real people to me. So I will check in after chapter 8. Hello, everyone. I finished chapter 9, and I'd like to apologize for how absolutely vague I have been about this entire book so far. That is because there is so much going on in here. So much that I feel is kind of spoilery, even for beginning of the book stuff. I know we're getting closer to the middle of the book now, but there's just a lot that's interwoven in here, and it's all relevant. And I feel like it would cheapen your reading experience if I gave this stuff away. So when I'm just saying, well, they did something kind of like this, and then something like this, so that's my explanation. Take it for what you will. So this investigation thing is not going to be cute, cozy mystery. Not that, people solving murders is cute. So I take that back. I take that back before the internet comes after me. I'm not coming after cozy mysteries. I love cozy mysteries. What am I saying here? I'm saying there is a huge wrench in this investigation, and I'm not advising Jonathan to like ignore his job as a police officer, but would it be the most awful thing just to turn a blind eye here for the sake of, he and Brooke working out? Of course, you can't build a relationship on lies, and even, no, I know better. I'm sorry. I apologize. I take that back. This conflict's going to be rough. When when the dark moment happens, it's going to be dark, and this is supposed to be heartwarming. I don't know who I need to talk to in the heartwarming department, but the amount of sad and hurt and trouble they put into these books, it's a little deceptive. I'm not mad though. I'll get back to the book and I'll check in later, and I'll maybe be in a better mindset. I finished chapter 10. It's good thing we had a whole all family sit down, some nice talk exchanged. But then we thought we were out of the woods here on a very specific thing going on. We thought we were good. This was great. We can now enjoy this surprise non-date and HEA. But no, I mean, we're only halfway through. So there's that part of it. As well, that was just a little carrot that got dangled out there that actually had a hook on the end, and it was a trap. That was a trap, pure and simple. I feel attacked for that. I'm not sure why you feel the need to do this to me. I'm going to continue to read your book anyway because I'm enjoying it so much, but I must express my displeasure for that little nugget you put in there. I'm trying to think of an analogy here. What's a great analogy for what was done here? I'm trying to think something to do with Legos being left on the floor and bare feet, but that doesn't seem on par with the cruelty here. I might have to take a break for a minute and just kind of decompress a bit. I may be a little too over emotional in this one. I might be anger vlogging right now, rage vlogging, possibly. I will take a step back and I will check in after chapter 11, whenever I decide to get to chapter 11. It might not be today. Thank you very much for that. Okay, all right, I'm done. I'll stop. Hello, everyone. I finished chapter 11. I have realized in this chapter that Jonathan has an issue seeing what's right in front of him. And for a detective, that's a problem. Not only just what he's missing out on right in front of him, he sees that he likes Brooke, but he is missing some serious flags that, are waving pretty strong. And I think it's time he starts to take some steps to correct those things. Actually, thinking about it too, like Brooke's having some moments as well, and it's kind of revolving around their parenting, and that's fair enough. No one's a perfect parent. It's a tough job. It is the toughest job. And we all have our bad days, and we all have moments where we don't see what's in front of us. So this is very real. It's just it's very hard to watch or read, but it's very enjoyable as well. I have to say it again. This is a very heavy read as far as subject matter, and I'm loving it, and I can't wait to keep going. So I'm just going to keep going. I will check in after chapter 12, or maybe a few more chapters. We'll just see how it goes. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. I finished chapter 12. This book, I don't want to say is bringing up hard truths, but it's just bringing up life truths, I guess. Because I tell you what, Jonathan has a preteen. So his oldest is given him some difficulty, just with how things are. I mean, things are difficult growing up to begin with, but losing your mother your father trying to date, it's, it's all going to have an effect. I've got two preteens right now that it has its challenges. So that's just some empathy, I guess I can feel towards this book. And obviously, the writer Tanya of this book has experienced some of these things as well. I can just feel it through the pages. So that's probably the most interesting thing I experienced through chapter 12. We did get some super cute moments as well, but there's this thing that's hanging over them with the case that, like I said, it's just hanging over them, and we are getting to the point where I think the dark moment's coming. So I'm trying to brace for that and hoping that things will find their way to the other side and everyone's going to be okay. So we will just have to see. So I'm going to push forward, and I will check in after chapter 13 or whenever I decide to. Hello, everyone. I've finished chapter 14, and we have some progress on the case and Brooke and how she's seeing the case now and some of the possibilities involved there. It's tough from our perspective because we want to believe our kids as parents, but then kids lie sometimes too, and it's tough, and you want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but it's tough for everyone involved in this situation too, because it could mean her relationship with Jonathan. We don't know anything for sure. We still only have circumstantial evidence for all of it, and we want to make sure that we have our facts straight. Thankfully, everyone's keeping cooler heads and not jumping to conclusions, so we will just continue on and hope that things can keep heading in that proper direction. And no more speed bumps here, so fingers crossed. Hello, everyone. I've finished chapter 15, and it happened. It happened. We knew this moment was coming. It was just as horrible as I thought it was going to be. Sometimes you hope that, maybe it won't be so bad. And sometimes you're right. Sometimes you get a mix-up and, a mix-up of the tropes. And there's no wrong way to write a book. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying some ways that you write a book really hurt people. And we just have to be careful about things like that. But then some of us just love to keep reading these books, even though they just keep hurting us. Usually because they put us together by the end. So excuse my fall apartness right now. Things seem a little hopeless. So I will continue on with chapter 16. We'll see if cooler heads prevail, especially mine. Hello, everyone. I've just finished chapter 16. Jonathan's had a moment. We thought we had weathered some storms here, and we thought adults had entered the room. Jonathan right now is not quite classified as an adult, I'd say. And maybe I'm supposed to feel bad for him right now, but honestly, good for Brooke. Yay for self-respect and not lowering yourself to somebody else's standard. Even as well-intentioned as that standard is, apparently we have some more growing to do here. But that's all right. That's all right. We have plenty of book left to go. So that means there's just as much opportunity for more sweet moments. So we will keep trucking along, and I will check in a moment. I've finished chapter 18 now, and things are moving along. We've had some progression, we've had some healing, we've had some constructive work on things and on each other, and it's all for the better. We had also some satisfying personal progressions on relationships and things like that. And we're not just talking about between Jonathan and Brooke here. We're talking about some of the side characters as well, and we are very much enjoying it. So I am getting close to rounding this book out. I don't know how many more times I'm going to check in because I'm super excited about finishing it. So I'm on chapter 19. There's 23 chapters and an epilogue in this, so we'll just see how it goes, and I will check in later. Hello, everyone. I have finished the book, so I usually don't bull rush endings like that. I think it was 4 chapters or something, maybe even 5. There was so much going on there, and I couldn't stop, and there wasn't much for me to say because it would just been spoiler, and I just give everything away. So the climax was several chapters long, so I'll just put it that way. So I just kind of let it all play out, let the song finish. It was lovely. This book broke me, honestly. Heartwarming needs to come with a warning label. I believe that it's will shatter your heart before it is glued back together. I don't know how these heartwarming authors are doing this whole Humpty Dumpty thing of actually putting Humpty Dumpty back together in better shape than when he was just sitting on the wall. But they do. They do it somehow. I believe the editing team probably has a huge part in that. Hats off to the heartwarming editors and the support staff and everyone behind the scenes. I mean, I'm not discrediting the authors here, but there's a lot of behind the scenes magic that gets worked to make these books what they are. Tanya Agler, this was incredible. I can't believe really that like how stressful it was reading this book at some times. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that wonderful piece of literature with us. I have another one of your books up on the shelf up there. It's the Sheriff's Second Chance. Okay. Yes, the Sheriff's Second Chance. I'll be reading that one probably here soon, and anxiously awaiting the next book in this current series. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. Thank you, Tanya, for writing such an incredible book. Thank you, Harlequin Books, for publishing such wonderful works. And thank you, everyone who's stuck with me through this whole journey. And we're only going to keep going. So more to hear on that. Announcements will be coming for book number 11. And happy reading, everyone. And I hope you have a wonderful time on your own reading journeys. And I will see you in the next video.